Shoot you straight. We're back with another segment. We're going to recap the 2024 NFL season as it has come to an end. Of course, the Philadelphia Eagles are probably out some more partying right now. Have a few
Probably.
cigars and maybe some champagne and maybe a little something else. But hey,
Mm-hmm.
as they should. Congratulations to them on a long season. Um, Josh Allen is your MVP. We could talk about that. He won the
Mm-hmm.
MVP. Uh, the Commanders and Jaden Daniels, Rookie of the Year, and
Mm-hmm.
just kind of recap the season and what we liked about the season, what we were surprised.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think this is I think one of the best seasons for the NFL. I think we discussed at the beginning where you look at a lot of the teams and they kind of have their quarterbacks now.
right.
If you're talking about surprise teams for this year, I think you got to put Washington up there. Minnesota is another one where like they came out of nowhere. I think we both
Absolutely.
thought that Sam Darnold was washed up, but Minnesota came out and did great. Washington did pretty amazing. Um, Bottom line, I just like this season. I think it was just a competitive season all the way through. I mean, you had your dominant forces in the Chiefs and the Lions, but
Yes.
I think when the playoffs came around, you really saw that it's kind of a little bit of luck to have healthy players to make sure your team is vibing at the right time, and that's just how it worked out.
It's
Especially
so funny you should say that, Steven, because I saw that too in the playoffs. You're beginning to see where some of these teams are actually closer than what the records may project.
exactly.
Like you said, all season long, it was the Chiefs and the Lions with those great records and a lot of wins after wins. But hey, the young Jaden Daniels was able to take down the Lions as
Hmm.
that team was kind of decimated with injuries. But they lost their mojo somewhere along the way. Jaden Daniels, a rookie quarterback out of nowhere, gets all the way to the championship game. I mean, amazing stuff. Mahomes gets Kansas City and his team to their third straight Super Bowl. They did come up short, but we ought to give them a round
Hmm.
of applause for
Hmm.
even getting there. That's an amazing feat. Of course, Minnesota was great this year. They won 14 games in a very competitive division, as you have Green Bay as well as Detroit in that division, who won a ton of games. It was a good year. Um, it was a good year. My team didn't do too well. You know, I'm a big Tua supporter, and I like the Dolphins. It's kind of an injury season. I know there's a lot of Niner fans out there. Another season you can chalk up to injuries for the most part. Dallas, I don't know how much time do we have. We're just gonna skip over that anyways. But
I think
Dallas has their issues. But overall, it was a good season. We do have a new champion, and we'll see where this leads us into the 25 season.
definitely. I also think you look at a lot of the rookie quarterbacks that came out this year. Maybe Drake May didn't have the greatest statistical year, but
Mhm.
I felt that he didn't have a lot to work with out there.
Yeah,
Bo
I agree
Nix,
with that.
Bo Nix really showed up. He did great. I
Bo
thought
Nix did really good. In fact, Jaden Daniels had such a great season that was kind of overshadowed,
hmm
how good Bo Nix did, but he did very well.
he did as well. I think even Caleb did well. I think it didn't show there, but half of that I feel is the team. But I thought all the rookie quarterbacks did good. This is a great draft class, and I thought you saw it.
Right.
The two DBs for Philadelphia, they played great as they were
Phenomenal.
in the Super Bowl as well. So that's why I'm just kind of really happy with this season. Everybody has just played well, even the rookies. It was just a fun season. It really was a fun season to watch. And um, I know you brought up about the MVP. How you feeling about
Um, Initially, I would have given it to Saquon Barkley. I thought he
Gotcha?
had an amazing year.
Gotcha.
I thought, I know Philadelphia is already a stacked and loaded team, and that might be, a reason to not give him as much credit for the MVP because most valuable player we think of the best, but we also think of the player like if I were to extract that player from that team, how good would the team be? Excuse me. And with that being said, it's hard to go against Josh Allen in Buffalo. I mean, he really got the most out of the minimal talent he had there in Buffalo. And, he didn't turn the ball over much. I think he had like 12 or 13 rushing touchdowns. So initially, I was kind of like, statistics. Lamar had a better year. Although Josh got farther, he did more with less. I'm not mad at that. Like I said, I would have gave it to Saquon, but Josh Allen won the MVP. I'm not overly shocked about that. And at the end of the day, it's just comes down to the Super Bowl is the main thing. So everybody wants to be the Super Bowl MVP and win that. That's the more important one.
Yeah, exactly. For MVP, I'm with you. Like I thought Saquon was in the running. I never, just me personally, I never thought Lamar was in it. I know people always talked about him with his stats and how great they were this year, but I felt that it was either going to be Saquon or Josh Allen. I think you can say that they had a stacked team in Philly, and that's why Saquon has so much success. I feel that it's because of Saquon they had that success.
Yes.
They're pretty much the same team um, as they did last year, and you just kind of eliminate the running backs pretty much,
Hmm.
and you have a very different result. So that's why I said that. But I'm not mad at Josh Allen winning the MVP. I kind of thought that he would win the MVP just the year that he did.
Right.
He beat the two teams that everyone thought were going to the Super Bowl this year, and that's Detroit and the Chiefs. He
Right.
put a stop to their run. So um,
And it is typically a quarterback award. It's just kind of the way it's gone. I just thought Saquon had a phenomenal year, but I hear what you're saying.
I think if you want to have him win it, it has to be like an Adrian Peterson type of year where he rushed over 2,000 yards. He was basically everything of that team.
Right.
Where with Philly, they have Jalen Hurts, they have AJ Brown. Their defense is pretty stacked. So
I mean, it's really close. We're talking MVP
Mhm.
race. You can make an argument for each candidate, but I think what hurt Lamar is he did go, I think, 12-5. He lost to, the Raiders and Cleveland. And, he didn't go as far as Josh Allen did in the playoffs, but his numbers were phenomenal.
Mhm.
But this is a most valuable player award. We're not just going off statistics. You have to take the whole body of work. And you have to also consider the fact he's got that guy behind him. Where's number 22 goes about 260. It's hard to bring
It's a
down.
big boy.
They call him King Henry. Yeah, so I mean, that doesn't hurt either. But yeah, hey, Josh is your MVP. Philly's the champs. Jaden Daniels, Rookie of the Year. What you think about Patrick Surtain getting the Defensive Player of the Year? You think
Oh,
that was the right call there?
I'm trying really in my head to figure out who else
Who
could
caused
have.
more havoc defensively?
Yeah, I think we discussed it earlier in the season where I thought Patrick Stain is the best corner in the game. I
Right.
honestly thought so. There's many games where I felt that he was just he wasn't playing in his own coverage. He's like, "Hey, Joey, you're the best receiver on that team. I'm going to cover you 100% of the time," and
Right.
I
I
felt that
follow
he
that.
did. Yeah, I'm just really trying to think who. I mean, you have names out there like a TJ Watt, but did I think he really had that great of a season? No.
Right.
Um, I
He's
mean,
always in that conversation, though. That's what I was thinking of as
yeah,
well,
like
Steven. TJ Watt.
maybe
He did have a little few
Jalen
injuries as
Carter,
well.
whatever. I
Mm.
maybe, but for me, I just felt like Patrick Sertain had the best season, and in a sense of what they brought. I think he was a big.
Reason why Denver did so well.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, I think they have a pretty decent team, and
Yeah.
that's what really helped them, pull off some close games and even some upsets, as you would say.
Two things that are treating me going into next season I just want to bring up quickly is
Yeah.
the Niners. I think they're on the decline. I think they we can collectively say they've missed their championship window. And I think we've seen enough of Brock Purdy to where he isn't a bust, but he needs to improve mightily to even think about holding the trophy up. Another thing, the Detroit Lions, two good seasons back to back, came up short both times. In my opinion, Steven, they have to be careful that they don't follow suit of the 49ers and start to decline and miss their window. I think their window is still open as they have a very young
Mm-hmm.
and talented roster. But you know what I'm saying? They got to
Gotcha.
make sure that they
Gotcha.
don't fall in that trap, that these players don't become, like the LA Clippers thinking like they won something yet and they didn't just because everything looks great on paper. So yeah, I want to see them come back, head down, go into camp because they do have a really talented squad, and they should be high up on as a favorite to win next year. To me, that's really the only team I could see challenging the Eagles in the NFC right now would be Detroit. They look the strongest as of now.
Yeah, I think Detroit is something that can be you can question them. I think this year was just really tough because of all the injuries that they had.
Yeah.
I think that 15 players on IR.
Did they have that many?
Yeah, they had a lot of maybe more, but at one point I think that's what they had, maybe even more. Their star defensive player, Hutchinson was out for the
Oh,
year.
he was doing phenomenal
But I think
before he got hurt.
my whole question with them is because they lost their DC and the OC. I don't know how that's going to play into next year. You still have Dan Campbell over there, who's a great coach who motivates them. For San Fran, I don't know. You know, I think from last year we saw their window close. We knew that Trent Williams isn't was kind of more on the declining side. You know, he's always been considered probably the best offensive lineman in the game for many of years.
Yes.
You don't know how Ayuk's gonna come back or McCaffrey's gonna come back. And they say that Purdy's a bust. I mean, he was the last pick of the NFL draft. I think anything, he's just been doing great. But I think there's just so much going on with San Fran. I don't know.
Yeah, the
Dallas,
decline of Debo.
we all know what's going on with Dallas. I think some of the interesting ones, if they can continue it, is Minnesota and Washington. I think Jalen Daniels had a great year. I think anything less than going back to the NFC would almost be a disappointment for him in a sense because he went so far his first year, and if
Sure.
they can add on some people. Minnesota, what do? You know, you have Sam Darnold went for 1 year. Do you re-sign him to a multi-year deal? Do you franchise tag him? You saw what your team can do. You saw that Jetta's right up there as the number one.
Absolutely.
Addison's not a bad number two. Your defense is pretty great. Um,
Aaron Jones is a very serviceable back.
exactly. You know, you look at that division with Green Bay and what they can do. They had a mediocre year, but what can they do as well? And let's be honest, I think for the Rams, even though they're losing Cooper Cup, I think their defense is young. I think they're gonna give some havoc next year.
Rams really came on strong second half of the year.
Verse, I don't know his first name, but he was defensive rookie of the year. Rookie of the year. I think he's an outside linebacker.
For the Rams?
Yeah.
Oof, God,
Rookie
you stumped me. I can't
Rookie
think of who
defensive
that
player,
is.
rookie defensive
Okay.
player of the year. So for the Rams, I like where they're going, especially defensively. You know, just Puka. So there's a lot of questions.
A
I mean,
couple
you
good
hear-
backs.
you hear
Kyron
Miles-
Williams and
yeah.
Blake Corum out of Michigan.
You hear, you know, Miles Garrett wants to trade all these different things. I think.
Yeah, Miles Garrett looking for a new home.
As,
Oh, Aaron Rodgers got let go today.
oh, there you go.
He's no longer the Jets quarterback. They're going to move on without him. What does Devontae Adams do? Maybe he's looking for a new home.
I think as much as we're happy to see this season end, and I think we both enjoyed it. Great to see a new quarterback. It
Yes.
kind of leaves so much questions for the next year, and I think. I don't know. I think people like that. You know, one season's done, but now we're itching for the next season.
We are itching.
You know,
Football fanatics
it's
over here.
not even.
Oh, and by the way, Atlanta, can we please give Kirk Cousins a clipboard, and it's time for Michael Penix
No.
to come in there. Can we please just move on
There you
from
go,
that?
Kirk Cousins. Prove me
Yeah,
right
good job,
again.
Atlanta. Give him all that money for what? But it's time to bring in. This is why you drafted the guy. You know, he only won a national title just 2 years ago. So let's play him.
And yeah, if anyone can like name a good Kirk Cousins game, I'd love to hear one. So I
Please,
can go
we would
search.
love it. Please put it in the comments. We'd
And
love
not
to
a five,
respond to
not a
that.
five pick one, but yeah, yeah. Just I mean, I just want to know what game.
Yeah. And how about the Cincinnati Bengals? I mean, what
Ooh,
a tale of two sides of the ball this year. Offensively, dynamite, juggernaut. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and those boys balled out. Defensively, man, it's like night and day. It's like running through a wet paper bag, man. Like no problem. Teams are just putting up 30 and 40 on them. I mean, even the Carolina Panthers look like a playoff contender against the Bengals. So hopefully they get that thing right on the defensive side of the ball over there.
I think they just caused more problems than they have, especially
Yeah.
this offseason, trying to sign Jamar and T. Higgins. That'll be interesting to see. I don't know what's going to happen. And gracious to Joe Burrow came out comeback player of the year as well.
Yeah.
So
Well deserved there. No argument there. Kid had a phenomenal year.
definitely.
True competitor.
Exactly. So that's going to be interesting to see there in the AFC. But
And I'd like to see the Bears continue to build around Caleb. He had a rough year. O-line's still shaky. But as he matures, builds a rapport with Keenan Allen, I think they got some question marks at running back. I know they brought in DeAndre Swift, but they weren't as successful. I don't think the running game helped Chicago this year. It could be more of a domino effect from that offensive line, but nonetheless, there's some holes to fill there. But what I'm trying to say is I do think Caleb's a good quarterback, and he'll continue to grow and get better.
definitely. Man, I'll be honest. If Chicago can go after Devontae, I think Devontae would be a great pickup for them. Um, I don't think Keenan Allen's the answer over there for them. Um, or to think that he's your number one. I kind of
He's
go
maybe
after
on the
the.
downside of his career.
I don't think he was ever on the upside of his career. I remember him
Okay,
getting a lot of hurt. You know, him and Mike Wallace were hurt a lot in San Diego. Not to say they're not great players, but I
consistency.
think all those injuries and years in the league have just kind of they're at that plateau where I feel that they're
I
declining.
hear you. It
You
is what
know,
it is.
yeah. So, but I mean, why not? Why not pick up Devontae? I mean,
Right,
broke broke
right.
with a
Definitely a better running back.
what the New York Giants should have done, but
Yeah,
whatever.
I'm not sure what the Jets do. Now the Jets, they're kind of like the Raiders, and they're notorious for picking up somebody's old trash. You know what I mean? Getting a quarterback out of his prime or somebody off of free agency. I don't know what they're going to do to replace Rodgers, but
I
he.
think
Let's be honest, he had a horrible year. He had a horrible year.
let's be honest. I think you need to decide on what you want to focus on. I think right now you have some good offensive pieces. And you have some good
Sure
defensive
do.
pieces. What do you want to be? Do you want to be a good defensive team or you want to be a good offensive team? I think that's where it is. Don't want to be a good offensive team and then you go hire a defensive minded coach. Like I don't feel that that's doesn't.
Well, and they just hired Aaron Glenn. Am I wrong? That's
Yeah,
their new coach, and
yeah,
he's a defensive. He's
yeah.
a former
So
corner
if
for the
you
Jets for years.
yeah, so if that's where you want to go, that's cool. But keep it to that point where you're like, okay, we're gonna be a defensive minded team, maybe run the ball, but that's gonna be our
Get a
staple.
quarterback to turn around and hand that thing off and
Exactly.
throw it occasionally.
Build it up that way. Don't just go crazy and okay, we're gonna pick up this. We're gonna pick up Kirk Cousins over here.
Right.
If you guys pick up Kirk Cousins, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Oh God, please don't. I
I
think they
will
go.
laugh.
I
I
think
will
they
laugh.
draft quarterback in the draft.
I will
They got it.
laugh. I will laugh to pick up Kirk Cousins.
I would not be surprised though, because that's what teams like this do.
I would laugh.
Yeah. Sorry, Jets fans. I don't hold your breath for another year. I don't know what's going on, but I feel bad for Jets fans, Niner fans, and Cowboy fans. I think all those teams are regressing rapidly.
Yeah, I just laugh at the Cowboy fans because it's just still the same problem every year. For the past I don't know how many years, but
And it's going to be the same way until that owner's up out of there. So,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
when two kids can grow up, live out their lives, and go to a Super Bowl or go to the NFC Championship game before the Cowboys go to the Super Bowl, that says something.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, say no more.
There you go.
But that's it, folks. We just recapped the 2024 season. Can't wait till 2025. But let's face it, we are going to wait a little bit because it's only February.
Gosh,
But hey, basketball's heating up. Look at to the Lakers.
look at the Lakers.